It's interesting. Already we're into numerology. For if you take layer 2, layer 6, layer 7, 8, and 9, and you add them together, you're going to get an energy in numerology of 5. And 5 means universally change. Get ready for change. Now, what my partner calls the disclaimer. None of these things are going to happen to you if you don't want them. These are gifts for light workers. If they want to open the door, if they want to push upon the quantum parts of themselves through a consciousness of choice. And if they don't, nothing whatsoever will happen. The good doctor with the semi-Lithuanian name explained it well. He says DNA is very much like the most advanced jet airplane ever made. But the energy on the planet Earth, which literally talks to your DNA through the magnetic field, has always been low. Always. Compared to mastery, compared to the prophets, your DNA has always been of low energy. And therefore that wonderful jet plane has simply taxied up and down the runway for all of humanity, all the time, all through history. And now it is changing. That's the message. It always has been. Let us itemize what is different. Layer 2 of DNA. When you compartmentalize it into energies, when you put it in 3D for teaching, layer 2 has been described as the human being's life lesson. Now it's important that you understand what a life lesson is. It's in your DNA. You come in with it. It is something that has been constructed due to the Akash. That is to say, your life lesson is only something that has been put there based upon what has happened to you in what you call past lives. Therefore, already it's hooked to your Akashic DNA record, which happens to be layers 7 and 8. Already we're interacting, are we not? No layer works alone. But let us return to number 2. For those among you might say, life lesson sounds like karma. It isn't. It has nothing to do with karma. It is an energy placed upon you, which some have called purpose. What is it that drives you? Have you come in and the cells sing with a message that say, I don't ever want to be alone? What do you think your life lesson is? To be alone. Doesn't seem fair, does it? That's the energy of the life lesson. What is it that the past lives that you have had have put together as a puzzle that you have not yet accomplished in the energies of being a human being? Whatever those are, become your life lesson. There are many of you in this room who have a very similar life lesson, and when I tell you what it is, you'll know why. For generations, the Baltics have had humanity which was defined for you. You are this, you are that. You will think this way, you will think that way. And you know of what I speak. And so there are so many life lessons in this room that when you're born, it is this: never let anyone define you again. Let the freedom and the independence that is yours countrywide, area-wide, be reflected in your thinking. Do you know what that does to a spiritual life lesson? It lets it soar. Don't be surprised if there's an awakening here that is spiritual based upon this. Independence of being defined. A life lesson which a group has together. That's the way it works. That's layer 2. And it's being changed. It's being modified. It's being altered. And you will say, well, how is it being altered? The life lesson must be the life lesson. I will tell you this. It's being changed in its ability to be manifested faster. Stay with me. The layer that is always involved in everything is number 6. Number 6. Do you know the numerology on 6? Look it up. For we told you this. Number 6 is the higher self. Oh boy. If you haven't heard this before, you need to hear it now. Where is the higher self? Well now, based upon the words, it has to be higher. It's not. The only part that is higher is your perception of vibration. It makes you want to worship it. Did you realize that so many of you go into the houses of worship so you connect with yourself? And you kneel and you hear the music and you pray to yourself. I am not being blasphemous. I am giving you core information of the way it works. For that is your perception of God. The higher self, that grand angel, the golden one, that piece in part which is connected to the other side of the veil, which is your core soul, always seems to look like God to you. And it's simply you. And it's in your DNA. And you feel it. And you'd like to be connected to it all the time, wouldn't you? And until this energy developed, it required that you do something. Change a consciousness for a little while in meditation or in prayer. Not now. What about a 100% continuous connection to the higher self? Well now, Kryon, if I had that, I would be like a master. Exactly. Exactly. And what keeps you from thinking such a thing is possible, dear human being? Is it a little too grand for you? It is not. You don't know what it means. What it means is this. All is well. All the time. A feeling of purpose of life. Oh, the challenges come and go. That's just life. The love of God is always in your heart, always connected. That's starting to change. Layer 6 has to be involved in every single tool set I will ever describe to you. That's the one that when you go counting up the layers, you'll say, well, it's always involved all the time. So do you count it or do you not count it? I'll tell you, it doesn't really matter. Because the only counting that is being done is as we teach. So you have layer 2, which is the life lesson, and layer 6, which is the higher self, involved in this tool set. Now come the 2 that are critical. The 2 that I'm going to give you now are the most important human DNA energies on the planet. They will always be the most important. They drive the engine of karmic purpose. They drive the engine of life lesson. And they relate to layer 6, the higher self. Listen. There are only 2 DNA energy groups, layer 4 and 5, which we will not discuss today, and layer 7 and 8. 7 and 8 are married together. You might say, well, why is that? Why didn't you just call them one layer? For emphasis. You needed to hear how big this is in order to understand. For layers 7 and 8 are what we have called Lemurian layers. They're the creation layers. They're your Akashic record. That is to say, the record of every single lifetime you've ever had on the earth. Everything you've ever done. All the accomplishments, all the talents that you have learned, and the spiritual jar of knowledge that you have picked up along the way is in layers 7 and 8. We have given you channel after channel explaining this energy to you. I'll say it again. In your DNA, there is spiritual knowledge that you have learned for eons. How many past lives do you think you have been in, old soul? You sit here with no proof that you have been in any past lives, but you intuitively know, old soul, that you have, don't you? Oh, you do. I know who's here. You can't deny it.